In recent years, China has established itself as a significant partner for Singapore across various domains, including international trade, foreign investments, and tourism. The relationship between the two nations dates back to the historic meeting between Lee Kuan Yew and Deng Xiaoping, and has only grown stronger over the years. Despite being one of the most significant partnerships in the entire Asian continent, their interactions are not well understood by many. What most people may not realize is that Singapore has become a crucial foreign investor in China, with billions of dollars worth of assets in the country. Surprisingly, this small island nation's contribution to China's growth and development is often overlooked. To gain a deeper understanding of their relationship, let us delve further into the crucial role that Singapore plays in China's progress. To understand Singapore's prominence as a major investor in China, we must first look at its early economic history. In 1965, when Singapore gained independence, it faced numerous challenges, including a lack of natural resources, limited land, and high unemployment rates. Under the leadership of its first Prime Minister Lee Kuan Yew, Singapore embarked on an ambitious plan to develop its economy and improve the living standards of its citizens. One crucial aspect of this plan was to attract foreign direct investment to Singapore, which would bring in much-needed capital, technology, and expertise. The government created a business-friendly environment by implementing sound economic policies, establishing strong rule of law, and maintaining political stability. These efforts began to pay off in the 1970s when multinational corporations started to set up operations in Singapore, transforming it into a regional manufacturing hub. Singapore's early economic success caught the attention of China, which was in the initial stages of its own economic reforms under the leadership of Deng Xiaoping. In 1978, Deng visited Singapore and was impressed by its rapid development. This visit marked the beginning of a growing partnership between the two nations, with Singapore playing a critical role in helping China modernize its economy. Following Deng Xiaoping's visit to Singapore in 1978, China began to adopt some of the economic policies that had propelled Singapore's economic success. Singapore's model of economic growth, characterized by a focus on innovation, investment in education, and a business-friendly environment, became an inspiration for China. In turn, Singapore saw China as a vast and rapidly growing market that presented enormous business opportunities. The two nations began to exchange ideas, expertise, and resources to enhance their economy's competitiveness and grow their bilateral ties. By 1994, one of the most monumental feats would emerge. The establishment of the Suzhou Industrial Park in 1994 was a major milestone in the partnership between Singapore and China. The SIP was a joint venture between the two nations, with the goal of creating a modern industrial park that would serve as a model for future developments in China. The park was strategically located in the eastern province of Jiangsu, adjacent to Shanghai, and covered an area of about 278 square kilometers. The development of the SIP was a massive undertaking that required significant investments in infrastructure and human resources. Singapore brought its expertise in urban planning, design, and development to the project, while China provided land and labor. The result was a state-of-the-art industrial park that boasted modern infrastructure, world-class facilities, and a highly skilled workforce. The SIP has since become a symbol of successful cooperation between Singapore and China and has attracted investments from over 2,500 multinational corporations from all over the world. These investments have generated billions of dollars in trade and investment, and the SIP has become one of China's most successful and profitable industrial parks. It is even home to 1.19 million people, including 807,800 permanent residents. Finally, an article published by China Daily also stated that for the 25 years of its operation until 2019, the SIP had contributed over 800 billion won or $119 billion in tax revenue, achieved more than $1 trillion in foreign trade volume, and completed more than 900 billion yuan in investment in fixed assets, and utilized $31.27 billion in foreign capital. The establishment of the Suzhou Industrial Park may have indeed been the inflection point between the two nations, but they are not the sole actors in driving the two's relationship. Singapore's role as a major investor in China can also be attributed to its strategic investments in key sectors of the Chinese economy. Through its sovereign wealth funds, GIC, and Temasek holdings, Singapore has made significant investments in Chinese companies across various industries, such as banking, real estate, technology, and consumer goods. In particular, Temasek Holdings owns a stake in some of China's biggest financial institutions. As of the fund's latest data, Temasek holds a stake in China Construction Bank Corporation, Industrial and Commercial Bank of China Limited, and Ping An Insurances. GIC, on the other hand, has made several investments over the past years, including Alibaba, Meituan, Ant Group, and a few more. These investments not only provided Singapore with substantial returns, but also helped to foster strong bilateral ties between the two countries. The close relationship between Singapore and China has been further cemented by the signing of numerous agreements, such as the China-Singapore Free Trade Agreement in 2008, which has boosted trade and investment flows between the two nations. Moreover, while Singapore is an active investor in China, they too have positioned their own country to become a hub for Chinese companies looking to expand their global reach. The city-state offers a favorable business environment, advanced financial services, and a strategic location, making it an attractive destination for Chinese firms seeking to tap into the Southeast Asian market or establish a regional headquarters. Finally, to further illustrate just how substantial Singapore's portfolio investments are in China's economy, one can see this through the data published in SingStat. According to the latest data in 2021 for Singapore's outward portfolio investments, China has stood out as one of the largest recipients of Singapore portfolio investments, registering a figure of over 257 billion Singaporean dollars, which does not even include Hong Kong's at $62 billion. In comparison, Singapore's investment in Japan is only about $153 billion. The strong economic relationship between Singapore and China has inevitably led to the development of closer political ties as well. High-level exchanges, regular dialogues, and cooperation in various international forums such as the United Nations and the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation have solidified their partnership on the political front. Furthermore, the two nations have cooperated on numerous regional and global issues such as climate change, regional security, and sustainable development. Singapore and China are both members of the ASEAN-China Dialogue Relations, which aims to foster cooperation and integration between ASEAN member states and China. In 2015, Singapore and China also established the All-Round Cooperative Partnership Progressing with the Times, emphasizing the importance of their relationship and their commitment to addressing common challenges together. However, the close political relationship between Singapore and China has not been without its challenges. As a small nation with limited resources, Singapore must carefully balance its relationship with major powers, such as the United States and China, to maintain its independence and strategic relevance. This delicate balance sometimes leads to tensions, as seen in 2016, when Singapore's stance on the South China Sea disputes led to a brief diplomatic spat with China. Moreover, the increasing rivalry between the United States and China in the Asia-Pacific region presents another challenge for Singapore. As a long-standing ally of the United States, Singapore must navigate its relationship with both superpowers without compromising its national interests or being drawn into the complex web of regional geopolitics. Despite these challenges, Singapore and China have demonstrated a strong commitment to maintaining and strengthening their political ties. Both nations understand the importance of cooperation and dialogue in addressing regional and global challenges, and their shared history of economic success serves as a solid foundation for their partnership. In conclusion, the story of Singapore's rise as one of China's largest investors is a remarkable tale of strategic foresight, bold economic policies, and the forging of stronger bilateral ties. From its humble beginnings as a small city-state facing significant challenges, Singapore has emerged as a key player in the global economy, and its investments in China have played a crucial role in this transformation. As we look to the future, the relationship between Singapore and China is expected to grow even stronger, with both countries continuing to benefit from this mutually beneficial partnership. However, it is also important to recognize the potential risks and challenges that may arise from the deepening of these ties, such as the need to navigate geopolitical tensions and to manage the consequences of an increasingly interconnected global economy. Nonetheless, the story of Singapore and China's economic partnership serves as an inspiring example of what can be achieved through strategic investments, close cooperation, and a shared vision for the future.